Okay, good morning and welcome to this morning's Dmrc meeting. As usual, it will be held under the Council's hybrid protocol with some members and officers in the chamber and some remote. The meeting will be broadcast on the YouTube channel and will be recorded. If you want to speak, if you're remote, please put up your hand, your electronic hand. If you're in the chamber, put up your actual hand. So we'll start with your hands up, Councillor Durno. Is that for a declaration, is it?
Yeah, declaration on item 6. That is one of my constituents and I have had engagement with her on it, so I won't take part in the discussion. I will leave after item 5.
Okay, that's grand. And I think we've no apologies or substitutes, is that correct? No. So no apologies or substitutes. Any other declarations of interest or statements of transparency? Okay. Seeing no other statements, we've just got Councillor Durno's statement, declaration of interest. Okay, we'll move on to the first item on the agenda, which is item 3, 4 Market Street, Brecon, and I'll hand over to Ms Mackay to take us through the planning report on that issue.
I'll just share my screen. Someone confirm that you can see that okay?
That's fine, thank you. Yeah, we're seeing it in the chamber.
Perfect. Good morning, I am Katie Mackay of the Development Plan team at Angus Council, present today as Independent Planning Advisor to the committee. I can confirm I undertook a site visit on the 13th of September 2023. I have no previous involvement in the application and I have no conflict of interest relative to the case, applicant or any interested party. The committee is asked to consider an application for the review of the refusal of change of use to form platted dwelling at 4 Market Street, Brecon, following the meeting on the 27th of September 2023. Members confirmed that they would like Development Standards to review this application to confirm if any other planning conditions would be relevant to the proposal. Just to remind members of the application, the proposal is within the area outlined in red shown in a map located in Market Street, Brecon, within the defined town centre boundary, just outside of Brecon core retail area. It seeks planning permission for the change of use and alteration of retail premises to form a platted dwelling. The existing retail unit is located on the ground and basement floors of a Category B listed 3-storey building. Within the same building is another retail unit with the platted dwellings in the upper floors. An established hot food takeaway sits to the left of the proposed development, with an established retail unit to the right, with the frontage facing onto Swan Street. This photograph shows the proposed development situated at the unit, which is shown with the shop sign which says Dali Lulu. The existing fast food takeaway is shown to the left of the proposed development, with the side elevation of an existing retail unit shown to the right. It also shows the second and third floors of the building facing Market Street. To remind members again of the agent of change principle, which the case officer makes reference to in the report of handling, it is embedded in Scottish planning policy and clearly places the responsibility of mitigating any detrimental impacts of noise and neighbours with those carrying out new development or operations. In plain terms, the developer is expected to explicitly ensure that they have demonstrated that they have undertaken measures to ensure residents will not be adversely impacted by a neighbouring use. The onus is on the developer and not the existing business, which has been operating for a number of years. As requested, Development Standards have reviewed the application at the request of members in partnership with Environmental Health. They have confirmed that they remain of the view that there is no condition that could be imposed to address the potential agent of change issue that meet the requirements of Circular 4, 1998, the use of conditions and planning permissions, in particular the test and relevance to the development to be permitted. The potential to address amenity impacts from noise and odours is not within the control of the applicant within the development application site. The grant of planning permission could lead to a residential environment with insufficient amenity due to noise and odours from the adjacent Hopwood takeaway, with the responsibility to address such issues unreasonably falling upon the operator of that business, potentially risking their ability to trade. To conclude, the case officer report, notice of review, grounds of appeal and other information are detailed in the papers in front of members. Thank you. Back to you, convener.
Okay, thanks very much indeed, Ms Mackay, for laying that out. So this is a planning up or an appeal that we heard at a previous meeting, and the summary of that meeting was that members were by majority minded to support the appeal. However, I think Councillor Fairweather felt that we should ask for additional conditions to be applied to the applicant, and effectively we're now hearing that there are no additional conditions that can be put on that planning application, because the onus is clearly on the applicant, but there's clearly nothing they can do to do something about a business that's already there. So we are in a situation that if we wish to approve this application, the conditions are the conditions that were on it originally, and we can't do anything about the food smell. There is nothing we can do about that. Now, I guess probably for propriety's sake, I think we should just probably have that vote again, just to make sure that everyone is completely happy with the decision. So basically we're saying, do we wish to approve the appeal? And there are no additional conditions that we can apply. Councillor Fairweather, I see you've got your hand up.
Yes, thanks, Chair. Just to say, obviously I'm disappointed that we can't further conditions. This is going to be one of us, I believe, on the flatted development there. I do believe that the panel have made a mistake in accepting this. They've not listened to the officers, and I am dismayed that this probably will go ahead today. Thank you, Chair.
Sorry, just to move things forward, I'm happy to move that we reject the appeal, and my reasons for that is the objections from environmental health staff, quite strong objections. Do I have a seconder for that?
A second, Chair.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Fairweather. Is there an amendment? Councillor Durno.
Thanks, convener. I want to go with the original. Sorry, we're getting an echo here. I want to stick with the original plan from Development Standards, and the reason why is that a lot of these town centres now are becoming occupied by people, because town centres are not what they were, and a lot of food outlets are actually disappearing off the high street because of the cost of food. So we don't know what this will happen in the future. So I'm quite happy for the application to go through, because I think we maybe have to change the view of our town centres regarding this. So that's, I will put an amendment in to say that I would like the original process to go through and not to be stopped. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Durno. Does Councillor Durno have a seconder? Okay, Councillor Brace is seconding. Okay, can we just go to the vote, please, Mrs. Forsyth?
Convener, the motion by yourself, seconded by Councillor Fairweather, is to dismiss the appeal. The amendment by Councillor Durno, seconded by Councillor Brace, is to uphold the appeal based on the reasons intimated at the meeting held on the 27th of September and subject to the conditions detailed in the report in front of members today. Please vote motion or amendment. Convener?
Motion.
Councillor Nicholl?
Motion.
Councillor Brace?
Amendment.
Councillor Doran?
Motion.
Councillor Durno?
Amendment.
Councillor Fairweather?
Motion.
The motion is held by 4 votes to 2. The application for review is rejected.
Okay, thank you for that. So just to clarify, planning application 23/00199/full, the appeal is rejected. Okay, thank you for that. We'll move on to item 4, which is Curlungy Farm, Curlungy, Carnoustie, and ask Ms Mackay again to do the planning presentation. Thank you.
Are you able to confirm that you can see that okay again?
Yep, thank you. Yep.
Thank you. Good morning again. I am Katie Mackay of the Development Plan Team at Angus Council, present today as Independent Planning Advisor to the committee. I can confirm I undertook an initial site visit on the 14th of September 2023. I have had no previous involvement in the application and I have no conflict of interest relative to the case, applicant or any interested party. The committee is asked to consider an application for a review to amend Condition 3 attached to an application for planning permission in principle for the demolition of farm buildings and the erection of 4 dwelling houses. Planning permission has been granted for this application and the review relates to one of the conditions attached to the planning permission only. Following the Dmrc meeting on the 27th of September, a written procedure notice was issued to Development Standards requesting further information in relation to the application. The site is located to the north of the A92 Dundee to Arbroath Road at Curlungy Farm, with access taken from the unclassified Old Downey Road. The proposal is within the area outlined in red shown in the map, located to the south-east of New Bigging, and the proposed planning permission is for 4 dwelling houses. The applicant has requested that the existing Condition 3 is amended to include additional wording to allow them to undertake site clearance works. The existing condition states, plans and particulars of the matters below shall be submitted for consideration by the Planning Authority. No work shall begin until the written approval of the authority has been given and the development shall be carried out in accordance with that approval. The matters are A, the siting of the building, B, the design and external appearance of the buildings, C, the layout of the site, including access, car parking and turning space. The means of vehicular access to the site shall be way of suitable access to be formed and constructed onto Old Downey Road in accordance with the standards of Angus Council, and the car parking within each plot curtilage shall be in accordance with the National Roads Development Guide. A scheme of hard and soft landscaping, including the means of site enclosure. For the avoidance of doubt, the submitted scheme shall include details of protection measures for existing trees within and adjacent to the site during the construction works. All landscaping shall be carried out in accordance with the approved scheme and shall be completed during the planting season immediately following the commencement of development or such date as may be agreed in writing with the planning authority, but shall be no later than within 12 months of the occupation of the dwelling hereby approved. Any planting, in the opinion of the planning authority, within a period of 5 years from the completion of the development is dying, being severely damaged, or becoming seriously diseased, shall be replaced by plants of similar size and species to those originally required to be planted. E. Precise details of the means of drainage for the development. For the avoidance of doubt, surface water shall be directed to a sustainable drainage system. And F. The existing and proposed ground levels and finished floor levels relative to a fixed ordnance datum and ground floor levels of neighbouring properties. The applicant has requested that condition 3 is amended relating to the introductory text only from the plans in particulars of the matters listed below shall be submitted for consideration by the planning authority. No work shall begin until the written approval of the authority has been given, and the development shall be carried out in accordance with that approval. The applicant has requested it is amended to insert the additional wording to state the plans and particulars of the matters listed below shall be submitted for consideration by the planning authority. No work other than investigative, demolition or site clearance works shall begin until the written approval of the authority has been given, and the development shall be carried out in accordance with that approval. To remind members, Development Standards previously advised the applicant that in their view to the request of amendment of the existing condition by non-material variation, that having reviewed the legislation, they were unable to make changes suggested as a condition is required to regulate the development until certain matters are approved, and therefore there would be no statutory position to allow this to be amended or removed. To provide a view based on the current circumstances, a written procedure notice was issued to Development Standards to provide further information to assist the committee. The Planning Service has confirmed that the matter has been discussed with solicitors and legal governance and the Change Directorate, and it has been agreed that it would not be legally competent to grant planning permission in principle without a condition as required by Section 59(1)(b). It follows that it would not be legally competent to amend the condition in the manner suggested by this review. To conclude, the case officer report, notice of review, grounds of appeal and other information, to include the responses received by Development Standards and applicants' agents, are detailed in the papers in front of members. Thank you. Back to you, Convener.
I think my suggestion to the members on the committee is that we have a short adjournment to take some legal advice from our legal advisor on this one, because we've effectively got conflicting legal views from the council and from the applicant. So it would be sensible to hear from our own legal advisor first. I think to do that, we have to exclude members of the public from the meeting, both online and in the chamber, while we take that legal advice. So that's what I'm proposing we do now. So if we just give us, we've got one or two members of the public in the chamber, so we'll just have to ask them to sit outside for the length of time it takes us to get the legal advice. Apologies for that.
John, could you pause the line?
Okay, that's us. That's us all back in the chamber now. The legal advice we got, I think, was very clear, and elected members will have heard that legal advice. So I'm simply proposing that we reject the appeal about removing condition 3. Is that agreed, or is there anyone with a contrary view? Okay. Councillor Brays?
Well, I certainly don't have a contrary view. The legal advice is quite clear, and we don't have any leeway in this at all. Thanks.
Just for clarification, could you get a seconder for
Sorry?
just for clarification, and for not for the minute, but just to confirm that someone will second your motion?
Okay, can someone second my... Councillor Brace is happy to second my motion, and we don't have any counter views. And the reason for rejection is as per the legal advice in the appendix. I think it's appendix 1. So that's the reason that we're rejecting that, the appeal. Okay, so that...
Sorry, Convener, the legal advice, it's the planning note rather than the legal advice.
Yeah.
So it's the planning note that I think you're basing your...
So we're rejecting it because of the comments from planning, which we're happy with. So that's application 22/00463/PPPL. We're rejecting the appeal to remove condition 3, and that's I think that's got agreement. Okay, thank you. We'll move on now to item 5, which is 13 Tayside Street, Carnoustie, and hand over to Mr. Christensen to take us through the planning issues on this one.
Thank you, Convener. You just confirm you can see.
Yes, that's fine.
Well, good morning, members. I'm Paul Christensen from the Development Plan team at Angus Council, present today as independent planning advisor to the committee. I can confirm that I've had no previous involvement in the application and that I have no conflict of interest relative to the case, applicant, or any interested party. The case in front of members of the DMRC seeks review of refusal of an application for planning permission for the resiting of an existing unauthorised wood-burning stove flue located on the roof of an approved garden room to an alternative location on the roof further from the eastern boundary of the site. The flue proposed would be of a similar scale and design to the existing unauthorised on the building. Members can see the location plan. Tayside, the site is indicated out in red line. Tayside Street lies immediately to the north of the property in red. To the south lies the coastal footpath at Carnoustie, and you can clearly see the property at 13 Tayside Street with the approved garden room to the rear in the southern part of the garden. Zooming in a little bit closer on the site plan, we can see 13 Tayside Street, the garden room, and shown on the plan there is the existing flue to the right where my cursor is, and to the left the proposed flue location. Immediately to the east of the red line is number 14 Tayside Street, and just for information, immediately to the west is 12 Tayside Street. Looking at the detailed site plan, again, we can see Tayside number 13 indicated where my cursor is. And helpfully, the detailed site plan shows some distances from the proposed garden room and flue to the existing house, which is approximately 22 metres to the property at 13 Tayside Street. From the proposed flue is approximately 5 metres from the proposed flue to the boundary between number 14. And you can also see the distance relative, which is approximately 12.3 metres from the rough approximate from the location of the proposed flue to the rear sunroom at number 14. Looking at the floor plan, we can see where my cursor is, this is the location of the existing stove and where the flue would be immediately above that on the roof. And the proposed stove would be relocated into the bottom left corner there, again shown by my cursor, and the flue would be immediately above that. Again, for information, some elevations of where the proposed flue and how it would look. We can see the western elevation, that's obviously within the existing garden area of the property at 13. The southern elevation is what you would immediately see from the coastal footpath, is the best location to see that. The eastern elevation is what would be seen from the property at number 14. And the northern elevation is obviously what would be seen from the rear of the existing property at number 13. Looking at some photographs, the flue that you can see in front of you just now is the one that's already in place, which is unauthorised development. And the flue would be located left of, just above where the patio door is coming out on the garden room. In the distance, in the background, you can see where my cursor is. This is number 14 Tayside Street, and obviously this is the garden area of number 13. Looking west, we can see this is taken at the rear of the garden at number 15 Tayside Street. We can see the garden area of number 14, and just immediately beyond that, you can just clearly see, you can just make out the roof of the existing garden room at 13. With the just visible where my cursor is the existing flue on the eastern side of that roof of the garden room. From the southern elevation, we can clearly see the boundary between number 13 and number 14. Again, you can see the unauthorised flue on the right of the roof of the garden room. This would obviously be moved further to the left, further away from the boundary. And finally, the view looking east, again further set back, we can see the existing property number 13, the rear garden area of number 13 with the garden room. Number 14 is obviously to the east of that, and we can see the existing unauthorised flue. This would be removed, this would be replaced and relocated, as I said, above the patio door. And in the distance, just for information, you can see the types of chimneys that are also on top of properties in the area. The case officer report, notice of review and grounds of appeal and other information is detailed in the papers in front of members. Thank you, Convener. Back to yourself.
Okay, thanks very much, Mr. Christensen. Are there any questions for Mr. Christensen from elected members? Councillor Durno, were you indicating? Yes, thank you.
Yeah, just a small point. The beach is in front there. The wind will be coming in from the sea, so any smoke will get blown back onto the houses. Would that be correct?
Yes, Councillor Durno, obviously the beach and the sea area is immediately beyond the coastal footpath. So obviously if there was any southerly wind, that would obviously blow towards properties, the existing property number 13 and any others that may impact. But yeah, the beach is obviously immediately adjacent to the footpath.
That's it. Thank you.
Okay, do members feel they have enough information to determine this application? Councillor.
Thanks, Convener. I personally think I would like a site visit to this one. Without being on the ground, I can't get a real feel for it, and it is important to both the applicant and the objector, so I would like to have a site visit if that's possible. Thanks.
Do other members have views on this? Councillor Dorn?
Yeah, thank you. I feel that if someone does want a site visit in order to make a clear decision on this, I would support them in doing that. So I'm happy to say yes and have a site visit for that reason.
Thank you. Councillor Fairweather?
Well, I'm not for a site visit. I do believe we've got enough information. I think the photographs and the plans have given every opportunity to make up our minds on this one. So no, I wouldn't be going for a site visit.
And Councillor Nicholl?
I'm good to agree with Councillor Fairweather.
I would give you my view. I agree with Councillor Braze. I think a site visit would be beneficial for me, and Councillor Dorn is of that view too. So are we happy to have a site visit on this one? Okay. So we'll arrange an unaccompanied site visit to view it, and that will allow us to see the issue on the ground, and then we can come back and make a decision at a later date. Is that agreed? Sorry, Councillor Durno.
Would the actual stove be in operation? Because obviously it's, or has it been pulled apart? Because we would need to see it. It would be helpful if it was in operation to see exactly what it was like. Would that be too much of a problem?
Well, you know, we can't organise the direction of the wind, I would suspect. So it might be a problem, and it might not. I think for me, it's looking at the layout of this in relation to other houses and other things that are in the vicinity is what I would want to have a look at. I'm not sure that we would necessarily ask them to have it running. I wouldn't have thought so. I think we're just going to have to use our imagination, I would think.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. Okay. So we've. Sorry. Paul. Oh, sorry, Paul. On you go. Sorry, Mr. Christensen. On you go.
No,
yeah.
It was just to point out to Councillor Durno that because the existing flue is unauthorised, that the applicants will have been advised not to use the flue. So it's probably that would be, you know, it's probably just worth remembering that until this application has been dealt with through the appeal process, they've been advised not to use it.
That's a good point. Thank you for that. Yes. Okay. So we'll carry out an unaccompanied site visit on this one at a date to be agreed. Okay. We now move on to item 6, and I'm gathering.
Wait on Councillor Durno.
Councillor Durno is going to leave us for this one because you declared an interest. Okay. Thanks for your attendance today. We'll move on to the Schoolhouse, Chapelton, Arbroath, and again I think it's Mr. Christensen presenting.
Thanks, Convener. Can you confirm you can see that?
That's fine, yes, thank you.
Again, I can confirm that I've had no previous involvement in the application, that I've had no conflict of interest relative to the case, applicant, or any interested party. The case in front of members of the DMRC seeks review of Condition 2, Permission 23/00166/FULL for the change of use of land for the erection of a shed for a gift shop takeaway and ancillary works are retrospective at Schoolhouse, Chapelton, Arbroath. This permission was granted on the 16th of September 2023. Condition 2 related to the restriction of the shed only and sale of hot food from the premises and immediate surrounding area. Condition 3 limited uses on the site to Class 1A as per the Town and Country Planning Act, Use Classes Scotland Order 1997 as amended. The shed is located within the curtilage of the former schoolhouse and lies to the west of the dwelling house in the southwest corner of the plot. It is understood that the development was built and commenced operation in August 2021. The building measures around 2.3 metres in height, 2.4 metres in length and 3 metres in width. The roof is finished in black roofing, felt, and the walls and doors are finished in timber. In front of members, as you can see the site plan, the red line is the entire plot where schoolhouse is obviously located where my cursor is. The shed, which has been erected and granted permission, is marked in black at the bottom left corner of the plot. Again, with a closer view, we can see the large plot where schoolhouse is located, and the black indicates the area where the shed has been approved. The shed can be seen here, and this is the east elevation. This is within the schoolhouse plot itself, and you can see the timber and the felt roof. This is the southern elevation. This is from the road just outside of the schoolhouse. And just for obviously the road is the shed is marked with where my cursor is. Schoolhouse is immediately to the east of that. We can see the public road in front of the shed, and the property and its garden ground, the neighbouring property which lies to the west. The Rose Cottage and the garden ground, as I say, is immediately to the west. The boundary wall between the two properties is marked with my cursor. Again, we can see the shed here. This is the southern elevation again, the public road. We can see the access into schoolhouse and schoolhouse beyond that. And we can see that obviously this is, say from the southern elevation, there are obviously residential properties located to the west, which we've seen in the previous slide at Rose Cottage, and immediately to the south of the road as well. The case officer report, decision notice and conditions, notice of review and grounds of appeal and other information is detailed in the papers in front of members. That concludes the presentation. Convener.
Okay, thanks, Mr. Christensen. Are there any questions for our planning advisor? Perhaps I could ask one question, Mr. Christensen. I mean, the conditions 2 and 3, condition 2 is excluding the hot food. Condition 3 is that to prevent some future unauthorised use that we're restricting it to 1A? Is that the gist of that condition?
Yes, that's roughly it, Convener. There are obviously permitted development rights between various use classes, so it's to restrict as you suggest, it's to restrict that. Obviously, Class 1A includes cold food, allows for cold food takeaway, but not for hot food.
Okay, thank you. So, do elected members feel they have enough information to determine this appeal? Councillor.
Thank you, Convener. A question, you're speaking about hot food. Is a cup of coffee classed as hot food or a cup of hot soup?
Can you supply an answer to that, Mr. Christensen?
So I think when we talk about hot food, we're talking about stuff that's going to make sort of some smells and, normal hot food in terms of not hot drinks, but hot food.
Okay, thank you. Is that clear, Councillor Nicholl? Do we have enough? Do we feel we have enough information to determine this application? Councillor Brace.
Thanks, Convener. As per the last agenda item, I feel that a site visit would be beneficial in this case. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that, Councillor Fairweather. I see your hands up as well.
Yes, thank you. On this occasion, I'm going to agree with Councillor Brace. When it comes to microwaved or whatever, I don't see how there could be smells of that, but seeing the site, I think would be beneficial. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Fairweather. And I have to say I agree with both yourself and Councillor Brace in this instance, and I think a site visit would be helpful for us to get the full lie of the land on this one, see how close adjacent properties are and so forth. So I think that would be worthwhile. So we will organise an unaccompanied site visit on this one if we're all happy with that decision. Okay, thanks very much. That's the meeting finished. Thanks for your attendance today, and we'll advise the dates of the site visits when they're arranged.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Thanks, Convener.
Thanks.
John,